Whenever we continue our game with moves like e4 and we get a reply c5, also called the Sicilian Defense. Now we all get confused what to play against c5, what to do something like planning, tactics, what are the tactics, ideas against it. So in such cases, think what you can do. So here we are continuing with our basic opening, that is knight to f3, knight to c6, d4, takes, knight to f6, creating the attack over the e4 pawn. Here we are going to play knight to c3, black plays e5, creating the attack over the knight, also taking the control over the center. Now, in such cases, many of the players would be trying to take back the knight, but there is such other move that is a great move, knight d to b5, creating the deadly check at d6. And think, after this check, what if black doesn't exchanges? If black doesn't exchanges means that the king has to move to e7, creating a first position for black. So although we are going to play knight to d6 check, and then black would be taking that, and then we would be capturing the same. Now the major advantage of playing knight to d6 check is that this is the open bishop, and we have exchanged the open bishop for the knight, which is a very big benefit for us. Black play d6. Now we can play something like bishop to g5, pinning the knight, also developing the bishop as well. But here white plays knight to d5. Now the advantage is actually we are going to create the attack over the c7, creating the fork over the check as well as to capture the rook. Now if black takes it, then we will be capturing, creating the attack over the knight. Knight goes back. We are going to play c4. Now for development of black to castle, he would have to play knight to g6, then bishop, and then to castle for king safety. But except for all such plannings, black began with e6, creating the attack over the knight. Here we are going to play a very nice move, that is queen to a4. If black captures it, then we win it rook. So in such cases, black was aware of such cases and black played bishop to d7, creating the attack over the knight. Now, can you find out the brilliant move? Yes, knight cross d6, checkmate. Here we begin with e4, c5, knight to f3, then e6, which is the Sicilian dragon. Here we are going to play d4, takes, knight to f6, creating the attack over the e4 pawn, knight to c3, protecting the pawn. Now you would be observing two main moves, a6 or g6. Here we would be looking on a6 further, but let's look for g6 as the main concept. So here black plays g6. We are going to play a best move, that is f4, which is the 11th phase variation. Now, if black plays bishop to g7, then he is gone, because we are going to play e5. Black captures it, we capture it. Now, it has created the attack over the knight. Also, you can observe this clearly. Now, the two main moves. Actually, what do you think? Where the black would be trying to place its knight? So let's look on it one by one. If knight goes to h5, think of g4, because it would be creating the attack over the knight and knight has been trapped. If knight goes back to g8, then it doesn't make sense. If knight goes to d7, then it would be blocking the way of bishop. which would be a problem. Although you would be observing two main moves, knight to d5 or knight to g4. So let's look for knight to g4. Here we are going to play bishop to b5 check. Now if it protects with bishop, then it has lost the knight. So it is a problem for black. And remember, black cannot capture it because it is a check. If black tries to protect it with knight to c6, so here again it has gone because we can capture the knight. It takes, we also capture, creating the attack over the rook. We are also going to win the rook. So it's a nice position. So in such games, you would be observing the main move as king to f8. Here, in such cases, we can play a brilliant move, that is knight to e6 check. If black doesn't capture it, then white can win the opponent's queen. And if black captures it with the bishop, then it's a checkmate. Queen cross d8 checkmate. What a game. Come on guys, this video deserves a like. Please, I request you all to like this video. Now, what if it captures with a pawn? Again, we can repeat the same activity. We are going to win the queen, right? So actually, I hope that you all love this trap. And this is the trap which many of the players don't know. Alright, so let's look for the another trap. Here, we are going to begin with e4, c5. Now we are going to play 11 Sicilian Defense. Most common reply is d5. We are, except for capturing, we push the pawn. Now the main idea is to play bishop to f5. We play d4, takes, bishop cross b1, capture, queen a5 check, creating the attack over the a2 pawn. We play bishop to d2 and queen takes the pawn. Now it's a strategic mistake because you can play bishop to c3. Now black begins with any of the move. For example, e6. Queen is trapped. Alright, so in this position, if white begins with the move d4, pawn takes the pawn, then we are going to play c3. Again, takes, knight to c6, our normal development move. So here we are also going to look our development. Knight to f3, d6, bishop c4. Now the main common move would be like knight to f6 or e6. But let's look for bishop to g4. If black plays bishop to g4, the basic reason is to pin the knight. And in such cases, we can sacrifice our bishop by playing bishop cross f7. That's a forcing move. Check. So if king captures it, knight to g5 check, creating the attack over the bishop via queen, which is a problem. So king goes back and we capture the bishop. In this position, we have an extra bishop, and in this position, you are quite closer to win the game. So coming back to our position, here, except for playing bishop to g4, black plays another move, that is knight to f6. Now we are going to play e5, counter attack over the center, creating the attack over the knight. If black captures the pawn, now we are going to exchange the queens. So queen cross d8 check. If knight cross d8, then we can play knight to b5, creating the attack over the e5 pawn, as well as we have created a fork to win the rook. So there are two advantages for which you can win a game easily. If king tries to go to d7, then you can capture it. King goes back, and then knight to c7 is a mate. Now, what if king captures the queen? King captures the queen, then we can play knight to g5, creating the attack over the f7 pawn. And it's very difficult for black to stop such kind of attacks. Now here we are looking for another trap that is beginning with a3. If black plays knight to c6, we are going to play b4. If black captures it, then we also capture it. Knight takes c3, knight to c6. Now we have taken the control over the center because you can observe that those two pawns have created the control over the center, and it is a quite nice thing for white. In this position, if black is aware of all those things, then it doesn't capture, but else it plays e6. We are going to play b5, creating the attack over the knight, and most probably you would be observing the move knight to d4, then c3. It is a knight trap. Coming back to our position, here in this position, if black plays d5, then we would be capturing the pawn. Queen captures the pawn, knight to a3, then black plays e6. We are going to play knight to b5. Which is a quite familiar poke. So here, if black begins with the move bishop to d6 to stop such attacks, so we have a quite tricky move that is queen to g4. Now, black got to know that we are going to attack over the pawn, so black played g6, but actually it is not a right move because we are going to play bishop to c4, and if queen captures it, then we are also going to capture the bishop, leading to a forcing move, and we are going to capture the free queen. Alright, so in another ways, except for capturing, if queen goes to h5, then we can win the free bishop. Coming back to our position. Here, except for bishop to d6, if black can win the move queen to d8, now we can play bishop to f4, which is the same position. Actually, we are going to create a fork by playing knight to c7 check, winning the rook. In this position, we discussed about e6. What if black plays knight to f6? So here we are going to play knight to b5, again creating the family fork, queen to d8, d5, creating the attack over the knight. So knight goes to e5, bishop to f4, creating the attack over the knight, knight f to d7 for to protect the knight. Now in such cases, create the pressure over the knight. So here we are going to begin with the development move, knight to f3, creating the attack over the knight. And by this way, you can pressurize your opponent to play something which is not in favor for them. And you can observe that those pieces are still hanging there, which is a bad thing for black. In this position, except for e6 or knight to f6, we are going to look for e5. So we are going to develop our knight, knight to b5, again creating the fork, queen to d8, d5, knight to b8, d6. So in this cases, you can observe that this pawn is basically to promote this knight to c7 and to create a fork. So to avoid it, black cannot do anything. If black begins with knight to a6, then we are going to sacrifice our rook. Pawn take the rook, then we are going to give the check, and by the same way, we are going to winter rook.